Good afternoon, Mr. James.
Good afternoon.
I so honored to have you here today with us doing this interview. The first question I'm gonna ask is if you can, well, before we start the interview, when I ask a question, if you can paraphrase it or whatnot, pause, and then
Give you an answer.
yeah, give an answer so that way it'll be great for
Okay.
editing purposes. But the first question I wanted to ask is, what is your name? Where do you currently work? What is your position there? And how long have you been working there?
Okay, my name is Frederick James. Um, Chosen name is Nkosi Nayahuma Day, which is a Moorish name. Um, I work for Our Brothers Keeper of Southern Illinois. It's a reentry organization. What was the other question?
Oh, what is your position there?
Okay, I'm the outreach coordinator, outreach specialist for OBK.
And how long have you worked there?
Two and a half, 2.5 years now.
What inspired you to do that type of line of work?
Community service work. Well, I was raised in a household that did community service. The woman that raised me had a whole community center named after her in East St. Louis, which still stands today. It's called the Mary Brown Community Center. So I saw the works that she did for the community and how much it helped, and that inspired me to do the same.
What is your position typically like? And what makes you kind of want to get up in the morning? What drives you to continue to do that type of line of work?
Knowing that every day there's somebody that needs help. You know, life should be about the selfless service of others. If we helped others as much as we wanted to help ourselves, the world would be a different place. And I just find it on myself to assist others, sometimes to my detriment, but I still wake up looking for who I can help.
That being said, I want to kind of follow up with. So it sounds like you're kind of hinting at your week, but how does your average week or average day?
Average day goes, man. Wow. I had someone hang with me for a day, and they was like, "Man, your days are like this every." I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Man, today was like a movie." You know, so my days are kind of like a movie. Um, if you hung with me one day, which I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wear a body cam one day and just let the world see what I do on a daily basis because it's a lot. It's a lot. You know, the residents of East St. Louis, especially East St. Louis, is one of the most depressed areas in the country. So it needs a lot of uplifting, and it needs people who are willing to do that, and I'm one of them.
Do you feel like in your position um, that you're making a difference in your community or uh, the outer community as well?
Yeah, I do. I do. I've seen the difference my organization, for one, has made. I was telling my coworkers today how the word on the street, when you mention OBK, people know who we are now. And that stems from us getting out, doing the groundwork, doing the grassroots work, especially that the people on the streets know who we are and what we do. So yeah.
And can you tell me more about your organization?
Well, we help returning citizens, as we like to call them, basically get their affairs in order when they come home from prison. Or if you've ever been incarcerated and need some help with something, we try to guide you in the right direction to another agency if we can assist you with something. Because there's a myriad of agencies out here doing work, but a lot of people don't know about them or where to go to access them. So we like to be that liaison that kind of points them in the right direction so they can get their life back on track.
And how many people would you say you have helped within your organization?
Oh, 300 now. We just deleted some files. Now we've attempted to help. We don't help everybody because everybody's not willing to help themselves. But those that'll walk with us, we're close to 300 now in probably the 3 years that we've been in operation.
So now, kind of transitioning to things. When did you first hear about Dismas House of St. Louis?
Regrettably, when I was incarcerated, I was in Dismas House myself in 2018 for 6 months. So I didn't know anything about Dismas House until I got incarcerated, and once I got closer to going home, the name popped up. Yeah, you'll be going to Dismas House, blah blah blah. So that's how I regretfully became familiar with Dismas House.
So how long were you incarcerated, and what were you incarcerated for?
16 years marijuana possession. Yeah. I get that reaction a lot.
To do a follow-up question for that, did you have a large amount?
Were there mitigating circumstances? Yes. I represented myself in trial. I went to trial, first of all. Represented myself. Just from saying those two things, they're not familiar with that and they don't like that. So that in and of itself made the judge kind of somewhat biased against me in my position. Because I got sentenced for the house that I sold the weed out of. Not for the weed or the guns. They could only give me so much time for that. He gave me 20 years for having the house to sell it out of.
And before any of this occurred, what was your background like growing up and
Music, sales. I was in sales for a number of years, and music. I still do music today. Basically those things, sales and music.
But you didn't have a record?
No, just minor things, traffic. Never had a record, no felonies, nothing like that.
And so, once post incarceration and knowing that you were going into Dismas House, did you have any doubts or speculations about Dismas before entering the facility resident?
No.
As a facility resident?
No, I didn't. Matter of fact, my case manager or the social worker at the time that works, I don't know if she still works over there. She said I was probably the most prepared client that she ever had because I had everything ready. Resumes, IDs, birth certificates, social security, whatever I needed, I had it. And she was so amazed that everything I had, everything she asked for, I had. Because usually it's, you gotta hold the inmate's hand and guide them through certain things, but I was kind of guiding her and telling her what to do. So, yeah.
Can you walk me through the process, entering Dismas from start to finish?
Well, when you come in, you're in a room with a bunch of other guys and trying to get out that room and get a more secure room, a more private room. So once that occurred, I wouldn't say it was more smooth sailing, but still things occur in Dismas because you got a bunch of ex-cons whose minds aren't on the same page. Everybody isn't trying to better themselves. Some guys can't wait to get back out there and do what they did that led them in. But being in Dismas, it was a learning experience. A lot of improvements could have been done as far as assisting the inmates. Mm. Some case managers are good, some aren't. Some have your best interests at heart, some don't. I think that's the case with just about any organization, you know. But sad to say, that's the case at Dismas, and at least was the case. I don't know how it is now, but I'm the type of person that took matters into their own hands to make the situation better. I wasn't really sitting around waiting on anybody to do anything for me.
What do you think the resources, what resources could have helped to further improve Dismas House?
Well, more access to outside agencies to assist those in need, more access to jobs, more access to your family, because that's the one thing you were missing when you were gone, and I found it difficult to see my family at times. I was out in front of Dismas House protesting probably a year ago. I was one of the guys down there. It was in the paper, you saw it? And they interviewed me, they had my name in there. I said a couple things. But as I said in the interview, there's a lot of things that can be done to improve Dismas House. The money that is allocated to Dismas House could do a lot of good things. When we heard how much was allocated, we were amazed because we didn't see any of that money as far as, you know, and that's what kind of let me know that everybody isn't out here to help you, even though they may say they are, they're not.
So going from being at Dismas to post Dismas, could you tell me how you got into the partnership of being with Dismas House? How did that, like, because as you say, you were protesting and
Yeah, but
and
even in protest, you want to come to the table and sit down and see what can be improved upon. You know, they're while we were out there protesting, there was young men in the window, you know, saying, help me, do this, do that. So, yeah, we're out there protesting, but it's still guys in there. So, I want to come back to the table and sit down with you and find out what we can do to improve their situation. Because they're not up there protesting and hanging stuff in the windows for nothing. The guys down at the workhouse in St. Louis ain't doing that for nothing. It's stuff going on that's not fair, especially if you haven't been convicted of anything. Speaking of those down there, the ones in Dismas have been convicted, even though some of those may not be legitimate or over convicted, like me. You know, when I tell people about a marijuana conviction and it's almost legal everywhere now, how much time I did, nobody believes that. But that's how the system is. It's not fair, especially to people of color. It's not fair at all. So, in saying that, sitting back down at the table with Dismas was of high priority because we want to see what we can do to help improve the lives of the people you have in there.
And what would you say you brought to the table? What organization?
OBK and the other organization I was part of an organization that helped eliminate Illinois' bail bonds last year. We got that eliminated. So now in Illinois, they give you a court date. You don't have to post bail anymore because bail really punishes poor people. Because people with money don't have to worry about bail. It's only poor people who have to worry about, you know, bailing out. So you're really punishing people because they don't have money, which isn't fair. Yeah.
And how many people would you say that has helped, you know, help alleviate or get into in front of a judge?
I'm not,
How many, or how many people do you think that has helped?
the
Once,
bail bonds,
yeah.
I mean, it just started, at the beginning of the year, but I'm sure it's helped quite a few people. If you don't have to post bond anymore, post bail anymore, and they give you a court date, I'm sure that's helped a lot of people in the state of Illinois. And that kind of movement really needs to permeate around the country. Because once again, it only punishes people who don't have money, which is mostly poor people and people who look like you and I.
Could you tell me about uh, a person or organization who has benefited from this partnership between you and Dismas House, or your organization and Dismas House?
A person or organization,
Yes.
it's a person out in my car now that's benefited. I change that brother's clothes every 2 or 3. He's homeless. I change his clothes for him. I take clothes home that he takes off, take them to my house and wash them for him and have them back for him. I say, you come here every 2, 3 days and change your clothes, and he has. Every third day, he there changing this. He changed them out today. So that's just a small example of the people we've helped. I was telling my coworkers today, the word on the street, when you say OBK, people know who we are now because we've been helping people in the street. You know what I mean? And that kind of noise gets around when people are looking for assistance in the line. Hey man, I heard y'all help with this down here. They just not gonna do it now. So we've helped quite a few. One I could say, we have a client named Nadia Legs. She's in an apartment now. And another client, Dwayne Scruggs. He has a job and he contacts us every 2 or 3 months and let us know how he's doing. Which he's doing great. So we've helped quite a few people.
Now that you've gone through Dismas, no, that's not. Here's a. What have you learned about your partnership with Dismas?
That Dismas is willing to improve upon what it's attempting to do. If they wasn't, they wouldn't want to sit down at the table with us. They wouldn't want to talk with other organizations and see what they're offering. So that's very encouraging that they're willing to say, hey, we don't have all the answers. Maybe you guys can help us out. That makes us willing to sit down with Dismas.
And has there been a moment or a memory that stands out from you working alongside Dismas? Because it seems like you've had a very interesting history from being at Dismas, being able to protest and advocate for others, and now working side by side with them. So,
with Dismas.
yes, what has been your most surprising or just memorable moment?
Well, I would say probably that she called. I don't know if she knew that I was outside protesting at the time, but somehow they got in touch with me and our organization and wanted to sit down and network with us. This is when we had the meeting in Forest Park. And I found that very commendable that they would want to do something like that because that's what's needed to assist who we're trying to assist. We have to all be on the same page. If we got 10 organizations out here and they're all acting independently, you're not getting the best out of what you could be doing. But if all 10 of you know about all 10 and what each 10 had to offer, now you have a myriad of services that you can offer your clients.
And you believe that Dismas House or the leadership at Dismas House has been trying?
Attempting now, they've been attempting to do that.
Is there an achievement or a contribution that you're most proud of when it comes to this partnership that you have with Dismas House?
Just the fact that I could come back in here as a representative after, like I said, protesting against. You know, they could have easily said, "We don't, no, man, we don't want you in there." He was out there doing the, protest thing. Now you up in here talking about what's going on. No. They could have easily said that, but they didn't. To their find it very commendable that they decided to sit down with us. So
After being incarcerated, after being a client at Dismas House, what attracts you to still be a part of this cause?
knowing that there's people out there that need help. You know, when we come out of prison, there's not many people out there willing to help you. And I want to be one of the ones because I know what they're going through. And who better to help you than somebody who knows what you're going through? You know, it's like when I went to rehab back in the 90s. And it was a counselor there who had never used drugs. All the people in there could tell he ain't never used drugs, so he couldn't tell them nothing because you don't know what we're going through. I know what they're going through because I've been there. So I think that gives me a leg up on the system.
Before you had the organization, Post Dismas, was it hard for people to relate to you? Was it hard to get your way through the door because of the prior conviction?
No, not really. I always tell myself once I get my toe in the door, that's all I need. So, you know, I think almost every job I interviewed for, the few that I interviewed for, I got. So it wasn't hard for me, but that can't be said for everybody. But for me, no. It wasn't hard.
Before your partnership with Dismas House, what was it? And you kind of talked about this before, but how do you think it was like, or how do you feel that it was like before people like you came in and started being at the table?
They had a certain way of doing things, and I don't think that they were that much beneficial to who they were trying to serve, or as beneficial as it could have been. I'm sure some changes are being made now that's going to make Dismas more beneficial, like us meeting here now. That's a positive sign. So my hope and dream is that they improve their services to better be able to assist those who need assistance.
What do you think that people should ought to know about Dismas House, and kind of where they're evolving to now?
Well, once I know more about where they're evolving to, I can't speak about what I really don't know. But I would like to know and have a leg up on what they're attempting to do. Then I will better be able to speak on that. But without me knowing, it's kind of hard for me to speak on it. You know what I mean? I'd have to see that first, or else I'll be back out there protesting.
And how did you feel as a partner when you learned about, and it's been on the news, so it's not a secret about their loss of funding?
I'm not real familiar with it. I heard about it, and I'm surprised that I haven't went and read about it yet. But you're saying how surprised was I?
Surprise, or what was your feeling about it?
I know Mr. Arrington. know Mr. House, and my relationship with them was pretty good, especially Mr. House. Uh, so to hear that they were going through some difficulties, it was kind of, you know, melancholy feeling, so to speak. You want them to improve, but you don't want something bad to happen to the people you know, like Mr. House, and gladly nothing's happened to him, and hopefully nothing will. But you also want to be able to make sure that what's being protested against is taken care of. Or like I said, we'll be back out there protesting again. So hopefully that's what transpires.
Last question I have is, through your experiences with Dismas House, both former client and community partner, how beneficial do you believe halfway houses like Dismas House is, and did it provide better opportunities than being a flatliner, serving your full time?
Oh yeah, halfway houses are definitely needed. They help you reintegrate into society, especially if you've been gone a long time. To kind of be slapped back out there without a transitional home like this is kind of abrupt. You know, the world is much different. Like me, for instance, when I got home, after 16 years, everybody's head was down like this in their phone. You know, and I didn't know what that was. I'm used to the flip phone that they pull out their pocket, the little Sanyo, and now everybody head stuck like this, and that was like traumatic to me. I'm like, I'm on the bus and not one person head was up. Everybody head was bent off. And I was like, man, what is going on? But, you know, those are the things you see after you've been gone so long that's kind of traumatic to you. You know, you've been gone a long time and coming back to society can be traumatic if you're not prepared for it. Luckily, I was more prepared than most, but yeah, that was a wake-up call. But Dismas House helped, and they can help even more with the funding that's available. If they get it back, quite a few things can be done. You know, if you took me on a field trip just to get me back used to being out again, hey guys, load up on the bus and going to the art museum. Okay, I've been in the prison for the last 5 years. Art museum sound pretty cool to me right now. Things like that just to get you back accustomed to being out. Cause they just want you in there all the time. If you ain't going on an interview or whatever, whoop. That's not reintegration. You know, you have to actually put them back out in the community, supervise them, but put them back out there. Not in a basement over there somewhere. So it's things that can be improved upon. And I'm sure they will be, hopefully will be, with input from others.
Thank you so much, Mr. James. And now at this time, if you can just sit there quietly for 30 seconds, this will help with our editing. Thank you so much. Yes, we are
Good?
wrapped. Yes.
All right.
By the way, I love this magazine.
Oh,
article.
yeah, that's my home city magazine. I am East St. Louis. They found me, they said, man, we been hearing your name everywhere.